There's bones to be inspected.
Should we get into it right away?
I mean, I think we have to. I have nothing more to say than I crave to speak of bones.
Very good. Proceed.
Proceed.
In olden days, a glimpse of femur was only for morbid dreamers, but you're not alone. Bring anything bones. Two goofy gals with deathly interest go on a skeleton inquest in your headphones. Anything bones.
Hello and welcome to Anything Bones. I am Sophie, the professional Schwartz.
And I am Katelyn, just, here, heart. And this is the podcast where we talk about bones, we talk about weddings, we talk about really anything that floats our boat in this cruel, cruel world. So welcome.
And we're happy that you're here. We are very excited to present you with another bony tale. I think last time, what did we discuss last time?
We discussed the cult.
Yes, oh my God.
Last week we discussed the cult that was led by Peter Moses.
If you have not listened to that one takes twists and turns. I was not ready for it. Editing it, I also forgot what was going on and was like, excuse me. So give that one a listen, but we're here to talk about this week's bones. And I have been doing a lot more reading.
My God, same.
Hell yeah. What are you reading?
Well, I just finished a book called The Last One at the Wedding. Lol. It was about a father whose daughter is getting married, but they're kind of estranged, and it was pretty good. It was a thriller.
That sounds really good. I shall put it on my list.
You can borrow my copy, or you can have it. I probably won't read it again. Oh, I did start the audiobook for Dungeon Crawler Carl last night.
Hell yeah, I hear that's great.
Yeah. We had a copy, but Chris's friend is borrowing it, and I've been thinking about reading it. I've been hearing about it, so I decided to do the audiobook. What are you reading?
Oh man, I have read a fuck ton of stuff recently. It started with reading The Starving Saints, which is a horror novel about some women in the medieval time trapped in a castle that is under siege and there's nothing left to eat.
Damn. Is it fiction? Like historical fiction?
It is kind of historical fiction, leads more to the horror fantasy realm of things.
I see.
I highly recommend for both you and Chris and any of our listeners.
Cool.
Then I read a book called Mexican Gothic, which is another horror fantasy novel taking place in the 50s in Mexico. And then I read maybe my most favorite of the books, a nonfiction book.
Oh, wow.
Called The Faithful Executioner. Let me get the full title because it's amazing. It's called The Faithful Executioner, Life and Death, Honor and Shame in the Turbulent 16th Century by Joel Harrington.
I think I've heard of this. I'm very excited to hear you talk about this one.
We are going to be talking about executioners, but it also will slyly be Sophie's special book report.
Fuck yeah. I love a special book report that you wanted to write or, compile.
Yeah, it's funny when you're in school and you have to read a book and then do a book report. You're so unwilling to do it. But now every time I read a book, I want to find a person and tell them all about it and then discuss the book further.
Perfect. Maybe we need to start a book club.
Hey, spooky book club? Who's in?
Comment below.
Comment below.
If you want a spooky book club.
I would love a spooky book club.
You're leading the charge. I'm leaning more towards like thrillers and spooky. The next one I'm reading is called Tuesday Moody Talks to Ghosts.
Okay.
I also have the Thursday Murder Club on deck.
Nice.
So we can definitely get some spooky book reviews going if that was something people would be interested in, or if you and I were interested in it, and fuck everybody else.
I could see with every project that I've got going on now, I would still love to do a shorter book related podcast. That would be fun. I'll do any kind of podcast with you.
Oh.
So Sources.
Okay, important. Back to business.
Back to business. So we've got 1, 2, 3, probably 4 Wikipedia sources. We have History on the Net. We have ZME Science. We have an article from the Smithsonian. And of course, The Faithful Executioner, Life and Death, Honor and Shame in the Turbulent 16th Century by Joel Harrington. Big shout out to Joel Harrington and his book.
Joel.
Thank you, Joel. I absolutely loved this book. The catch of the book, and we'll talk a little bit more about this later, is that an executioner wrote a diary during his time of being an executioner. And this was really rare because during the medieval period, which is what we'll be talking about a lot in this episode, you know, literacy was not big outside of the church, and having the wherewithal to write down what you were doing, why you were doing, and how you felt about it, you know, people just didn't feel like that was important. It's like if you were to, I mean, I guess some people do, and on social media reflects this a lot, but it was like if you were to have a private diary that was just like, I woke up this morning, I had to go to work, I drove in my Toyota Prius, I had to get gas at the Chevron gas station, I was upset about it, the gas prices are particularly high because of the war. Like, you know, it's like narrating everything that you're doing is uncommon, you know?
Yeah.
But as we've seen many, many times on this podcast, history is very much written by the people who love to journal. The people who love to journal are the real, like, heroes of history, because to write down your mundane things, that's the shit us history nerds, we want to know. I want to know what kind of carriage you drove to work, you know? I want to know the mundane details. And in 200, 300 years, someone wants to know the mundane details of your life. So journal. If you're thinking about journaling, do it. History will thank you.
You might be the next 1600s executioner.
Yeah, Franz. You might be the next Franz Schmidt. But so it's a very unusual account of an unusual job by an unusual man. And it has survived since the 1500s, which is very unusual for a document that was not commissioned by the church or some higher authority. So that's why our guy, Joel Harrington, was like, I want to dissect this. I want to really get into it, and took the time to read his journal, annotate it, and kind of translate and abstract upon it to write this longer book, The Faithful Executioner, which gives us what feels like, to me, it feels like stepping in on Google Street View of like the time. It feels like you are like sitting on the street and watching life happen from this executioner's perspective. And I love shit like that. Despite the subject matter, I found reading the book quite relaxing. And that might be because of my love of audiobooks and just listening to historical accounts. But if you love that nerd ass shit, I cannot recommend it enough. Because when I think of what was Law and Order, Crime and Punishment like in the Middle Ages.
Bad. It was bad, I think.
Yeah, bad. Bad.
Scary.
Scary, inefficient. Crime could happen to you at any time, right? You know, in the Middle Ages, all the great crimes we have today were just running rampant. You got your murderers, your rapists, your thieves, baby killers, robberies, horse killings, arson. Oh my God, arson. Arson was like akin to murder. Like if you wanted to fuck someone's shit up in the Middle Ages, you set it on fire because the financial recovery could devastate someone. And even threatening to light someone's shit on fire could get you killed. I'm so serious. Threatening
Jesus.
Arson was that serious.
Well, yeah, and it's also, arson was very common then, like, because everything was wood and, yeah, but God, that's scary.
There were literal, like, roving bands of people who would come to your house, like, stick you up and be like, hey, if you don't give us stuff, we're going to set your everything on fire. And you either gave them your stuff or they set your everything on fire.
Yeah, and then what do?
You're destitute, you starve and die.
Yeah.
It's not fun, which is why it was regarded as like a crime akin to like murder almost. Like you're killing someone's livelihood right there and then. So those were bold fucking words. If you were like, I'm gonna light your house on fire, other people were like, better not let anyone hear you fucking say that.
Yeah.
That's a crime. And so there were, of course, laws. They're laws of the land. But who was enforcing them? There was not really a police force.
Right.
No one's gonna come and arrest. No one's investigating crime. You know, there's not a detective. So what was to stop people from being roving bands of arson murderers? That would be public execution.
Right. That's a strong motivator to keep it in line, I guess.
Yes.
I guess.
Violence and the fear of violence and humiliation is what kept humanity in check for very long. And this was important because the people of a society have to feel that justice exists, right? Because if people are just running around stealing, murdering, and raping, that's a horrible society to live in. And victims of crimes just go unanswered, unhelped, and unheard. And so what is the solution to that when you don't have a police force and you don't have a prison system and all that? We're going to make it so everybody who sees murderers, rapists, baby killers, burglars, if you do those things, there's a direct correlation to public, brutal death.
Yeah, it was brutal back then, but I don't know. Things are different now, but...
Things are very different now. Yeah. They are and they aren't.
Anyway, we could just go off on a tangent there, but
I was like, I won't do anything political this week. Well, everything's political.
Can't help it.
Can't help it. But so these brutal public deaths were remembered by all who saw them, right? And was a staunch reminder not to do whatever they did. You know?
Right. Yeah.
You don't want to be in that position. And on the converse side of that, victims who saw their, perpetrator or assaulter punished would feel a sense of justice, right?
Yeah, obviously, of course.
And that gives confidence to the society, confidence to the rule, confidence to the law. And that's how society gets held together in the Western world at this time. And so thinking on that, executioners are extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
They are the key to that puzzle. And the justice system at this time was a lot less of the people. And public execution kind of was the be-all, end-all. There was jails, kind of, which was just to kind of hold people until they had their trials. But you wouldn't be held in jail for a prolonged period of time. Like imprisonment wasn't really something they were looking to do because that's expensive.
Right. Yeah. You have to build jails that people can't escape from.
Yes. So most transgressions at this time that were small would probably be paid with a fine. So we're talking between like 1200s to like 1700s. In some parts of Europe, men were placed into these groups called tithings, Tithing. And these groups would have like 10 or more men in them. And the other men would kind of watch each other to make sure they didn't break the law. And if one of them broke the law, the other men would force him to go to trial.
So like a citizen's arrest?
Kind of, yeah. Like kind of a chill citizen's panopticon.
I mean, there were like police, right? Or no, it was like soldiers, I guess. Like soldiers of the king? I don't know. There had to be somebody enforcing all this.
Not really.
Oh,
that's what I'm trying to tell you. There was not police.
Fuck? What?
No, we don't have police forces until later.
Okay. I'm baffled. How does this is chaos, I guess.
I'm telling you, this is why
they did it.
Why they did it.
It's sinking in. I'm processing.
It's sinking in. And for more serious crimes, you'd take people to the king. You're like, if you fucked up in a big and national way, the king could do it.
A national fuck up.
Hey, some people do it.
An international fuck up.
Yeah.
You're just dead on the spot.
I mean, I don't know. They'd probably cut your head off if you were important. That's the thing. You can only have your head cut off if you were important. If you weren't important, you wouldn't get the sword. You'd get something else.
Right. Well, because that's very quick, too.
Yes.
That's like relatively painless, quick death.
Humane.
Yeah, sort of.
Ish. So in terms of trials, what kind of trials did we have going on?
Bad. Right? Bad.
Yes, we had trial by ordeal.
Oh, God.
In many places during this time, which can come in a couple of different flavors. They had the trial by ordeal of fire, in which the accused had to pick up a red-hot iron bar and hold it while they walked 3 or 4 steps. And then they wrapped your hand up, sent you home, and then a couple days later you come back. If your hand looked like it was healing, you were innocent. If your hand looked like it wasn't healing, you were guilty.
Oh, my God.
Because God knew you were bad.
It was like, I'm not going to even bother.
I'm not going to heal this person. They suck.
Yeah. Okay.
Next, we have ordeal by water. This one will be familiar to you as a scholar of witch trials.
Yeah, I was going to say. Okay.
You throw the accused into the water, hands and feet tied together, and if they float, they're guilty, and if they sink, they're innocent.
And they die either way.
And they die either way.
What?
And they get wet.
This is so scary. So awful.
Well, Katelyn, if you don't want to do that, you can always do trial by combat if you are a nobleman.
Only noblemen.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Are you a nobleman?
No, like random people couldn't just be like, I challenge. This knight
absolutely
to a duel.
not. No.
Okay. All right.
And then, so you would fight your accuser, and if you lost, you lost. If you won, you won.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after 1215 and the early 1200s is when we kind of stopped doing trial by ordeals and moved into trial by jury, which is sick. We love trial by jury.
Good one, guys.
Although it's a little different back then than how we do it now.
Oh, okay.
So you have a jury of 12 men. That's familiar, right?
Of course.
But it's the jury's job to get the evidence.
Wait a second. I don't know why I find that so funny.
Because it's hilarious.
They're like, okay.
It's not jury duty picking random people of the community. It would probably be similar people each time. But it's hilarious to think of them as randomly selected citizens as now you're a detective. You solved the crime.
You're the ones that have to solve it, as a team. Oh my God, that's so funny.
I would love to see people do it now.
I would do that.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
I would love that. I'd be like, okay,
I
whose house did it happen at? Where are we going? What are we doing? I need a magnifying glass. I almost said microphone. I have a microphone.
Yeah. The magnifying glass
I need
is
a
missing.
magnifying glass, yes. So the jury had to collect the evidence and decide if they were guilty or not, and then what should the punishment be. So these punishments, of course, were carried out by the executioner. Back to our executioners. But who got to be the executioner? Whose job is that?
That's a good question that I want to know.
Yeah, right?
The answer to.
So it seems in some places they had some volunteers. In other places, not so much. They just chose a guy.
Ooh. They're just like, okay, it's you now. You have to do it. That's terrifying.
It's horrible.
But it's also a little scary. All right, who wants to kill people?
I know.
And people
if you
were
volunteer, I feel like you should be like, not you.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'd be more discerning now, but yeesh, it's bad no matter what. Weren't they looked down on in society, or does it just depend on the society?
It depends on the society, but Katelyn, you are on the exact right track because as soon as you became an executioner, you became an outcast to society.
Okay, yeah.
It was incredibly taboo to interact with you, even to touch you. They couldn't attend community churches. And because of this strong social stigma, the executioners often became executioner families, which then would marry each other, creating executioner dynasties.
Wow. Were there women executioners?
Not that I have read of, but they carried the stigma just as much as their male counterparts. Actually, it didn't even matter that they had never executed someone. They were just as outcast as anyone else.
Yeah.
Yes. Which just, sucked. Sucked a lot for those people.
Wow.
But it was interesting because in The Faithful Executioner, they named a couple of... And The Faithful Executioner mostly takes place in Germany. And they named a couple of names of noted executioner families. And one of those names sounded incredibly familiar. Schwartz.
Oh my God. You might want to trace your lineage.
I was like, what? What?
That's wild.
That's a project for later.
Yeah, that's hold on to that. We'll come back with some news on that later.
Well, it's also interesting because a lot of the time they would say the executioners would hang out with these outcasts, such as sex workers and criminals and people of Romani descent and Jews. And I'm always like, why the side shot on Jews? Every time. It's naming all these outcasts and they'd be different groups of people. And then the last one, Jews. So yeah, lots of discrimination in medieval Europe. But a lot of that was towards these executioners who had a government job, whose job it was to execute people. And it's like being you're a plumber, I can't associate with you.
Yeah, I mean, especially if they didn't sign up for it and they just were voluntold to do it. That's yeah, I don't know. It's
weird. A tough putt for them. And as these executioner families began to grow and evolve over time through generations, they began to hone it as a trade, right? Because you had to be really skilled at what you did to do it right. Because, if you botched an execution, that's really embarrassing for you and for the state, and it could get you fired. You're also making someone endure undue suffering for no reason, and the people don't like that either. If a beheading or an execution went wrong really publicly, the executioner was sometimes attacked by the crowd.
Whoa, yeah. I remember at some point, one of Henry VIII's guys, they I don't know if it was Henry VIII or just some people in the crowd, I think they got the executioner drunk and paid him. So it took way longer than, it needed to.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I hope he didn't get fired.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Because they would fire bad executioners. They would be like, you're fucking done.
Yeah. I mean, I would hope so.
The position of executioner was often passed from eldest son to eldest son. And your father would train you, starting as a little kid, how to do these various techniques. And like we were talking about earlier, that the entire family was kind of burdened with this label of being part of an executioner family. So even if you were able to somehow weasel out to do something else, being a second son or something like that, they often would end up being executioners for other nearby towns. So, it's a very hard to escape the stigma.
Yeah, interesting.
You want to know an executioner fun fact?
Okay.
So when you think of an executioner, how do you picture them?
In all black with a big axe or something, a hood over their face with the eyes and or the mouth cut out.
That is a work of fiction.
Oh, so they
rarely wore hoods. They would just be, barefaced, rocking it. They actually had special clothing, kind of like a uniform that they would wear, and they were often required to wear it even when they were not doing executions so that they could be recognized by the public and avoided.
Okay, wow.
But the hood was not part of it.
That's just something that has come up in movies, or
I think it's just to make them more scary and foreboding.
Yeah, I mean, it is scary. Yeah, it's just, okay, that's so weird.
Right? So, although executioners were mostly known for their job of killing people publicly. They also had other duties around the city as well. They didn't just kill people.
That kind of sucks. Okay.
Right? So it was under their jurisdiction to oversee the torturing and interrogation of criminals. They also had to clean the cesspools, the local cesspools.
Yikes.
Yeah, gross. They also were in charge of managing stray animals.
Oh.
They also were in charge of collecting taxes from sex workers and lepers.
What? Okay.
Leper tax.
Okay. What, just to exist?
I guess.
What the fuck?
For having leprosy. $20 a month.
What the fuck?
You can subscribe to leprosy.
Okay. What is it, like $20 a month to leave me alone because I have leprosy? Like, I don't understand.
I did not take the time to look into why the lepers had to pay taxes, but I promise you I'll solve that mystery for you, Katelyn. I will let you know why the lepers have to take. No, now you've got me going. I need to know why the lepers pay taxes. I mean, everyone pays taxes, but it sounds like they have to pay a specific leper-related tax.
Yeah,
but
what the fuck?
Lepers be damned and decide. Yeah. They also had the job of getting rid of dead animals.
Oh.
I know. No part of their life was fun. All of it was a bummer.
That is all a bummer. Like,
well, actually, it's not all a bummer because medieval executioners had a really intense knowledge of the human body, right? To execute people and to interrogate people with torture without killing them, you have to be pretty learned about the human body. It's gross, but they knew what they were talking about. So a lot of executioners actually moonlit as healers.
Interesting.
So that would be kind of something that would be known around town if that was something the executioner would do. So a lot of the times in the daytime, people were avoiding the executioner like the plague. But if they actually fucking got the plague, they would seek him out for a medical solution. Isn't that funny?
Weird. That's really weird.
Isn't that strange?
Yeah.
An intriguing duality.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to be around you, but I'll come get some medicine or a potion of some kind from you. It's weird.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want you to torture my uncle because he's a thief, but my leg's broken and someone's got to reset it. You know, that's medieval living.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody had to be a little bit of a Renaissance man. That's probably where the term came from, actually.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we got our guy barber surgeon, you know, people doing a lot, wearing a lot of hats.
Sure.
But no hoods.
I guess not. No, they're like, here I am. I'm doing it.
Do you want to talk about some famous executioners?
Yeah.
So one of the most prominent executioner families in France was the Sansons.
Okay.
They served before, during, and after the French Revolution.
Oh, they were fucking busy then.
They were fucking busy. The patriarch of the family was a guy named Charles Sanson, and he was appointed in 1688. And then his family continued to be executioners for another 100 years. Until his great-great-grandson or whatever, Charles Henri Sanson, became the royal executioner of France. His career had an interesting peak in which he executed Louis XVI.
Oh, okay.
The king.
Yeah, Marie Antoinette's husband.
Yep.
Okay.
This is kind of cool and also a little funny because the first person that Charles Henri Sanderson executed was a guy named Robert Francois Damon, who had actually attempted to assassinate Louis XVI.
Oh, kind of a weird full circle moment there.
Full circle moment, yeah.
Woof. Woof.
But I mean, my question was, I wonder if he had that thought, at all. Like, is this an observation people have made, like, you know, since he's been dead? Or I wonder if he was up there. Because he operated the guillotine as well. That was something that he did.
You must have if it was the French Revolution.
But I wonder if he had the thought was like, I killed a guy for almost killing you, and now I'm killing you.
Yeah, that's wild.
This guy was busy, though. Charles Henri Sanson. He executed a total of 2,918 people.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. That's crazy.
And like we were talking about just a minute ago, he was actually the first person to oversee executions with the guillotine.
Okay.
So he's really leading the charge there. There is an interesting quote about the job of executioners in France at the time by a man named Paul Friedland, who is a professor of history at Cornell University and author of the book Seeing Justice Done, The Age of Spectacular Capital Punishment in France, which sounds like a real page turner.
Yeah, wow.
So he says, quote, "The executioner as a modern bureaucratic court office was constructed in reaction to the prevailing and strong-standing conception of him as an extraordinary being, someone whose touch was so profane that he could not come into contact with other people or objects without profoundly altering them."
Wow.
So I feel like this really illustrates how people like Henri and Franz Schmidt, the man we're going to talk about next, were seen as these almost unearthly type people.
Huh.
Cursed and beyond society, but key to its daily runnings.
I don't know. Kind of sounds like executioners back in the medieval times were vampires.
They had a bit of that flavor. I feel like they had a little bit of that flavor.
I'm getting a little Dracula vibe here.
A little Dracula vibe. Well, then let's move on to someone who did have a little bit of a Dracula vibe.
Oh my God.
We're going to talk about Franz Schmidt now, the subject of The Faithful Executioner, the book that I read.
Okay, cool.
He was also known as Meister Franz, and he was the executioner in Hof in Germany from 1573 to 1578, and then he got something of a promotion and was the executioner of Nuremberg, which is a much larger city, from 1578 to 1617. So quite a while.
Long time, yeah.
Yeah. He is the one who left a very detailed diary of his executions that he performed during his 45-year career. This is one of the only and most detailed accounts of an executioner's life that we have. And what I really love about it is that when it first begins, it's not very colorful at all. It's like, executed a guy's name was this, he got hung, end of entry. And then later, as the journal goes on and he gets older, he starts to write more about the people who are getting executed, what their crime was, what he thinks about it, how the execution went. So it gives us a very much of a peek into what his life was like and what it was like to hold his position in that society at that time.
Fascinating.
Right? His Journal of Punishments contains accounts of 361 executions and 345 minor punishments. And examples of those might be floggings or ear and finger amputation.
Ooh, woof.
I know. We'll talk a little bit more about the penal code at this time and why it's harsh as fuck.
Yikes. Yep.
So the methods of execution that he records using are the wheel, the rope, burning, and drowning, and of course, execution by the sword, which is the most honorable kind of high up execution that you can have.
God, okay.
Breaking people on the wheel, which is like using this large wheel to like break someone's bones, pretty much, by contorting them.
Is horrible.
It's horrible. It's really bad. So that was for violent criminals. Burnings were for homosexual intercourse and counterfeiting money. Yeah.
Oh.
There was also drowning, which was prescribed by the penal code at the time, the Carolina, for women who committed infanticide, which is killing of children, which was surprisingly very prevalent in the book and in Nuremberg at the time. It's interesting because I think a lot of it has to do with women not being able to care for their children and killing them instead, or having children that they didn't want and getting rid of them. It's very complicated, but he seems to have a lot of sympathy for these women, which I think is interesting. Infanticide was commuted from drowning to a execution by the sword, partially because of Franz Schmidt. There's a story in the book of a woman who's being drowned, but she ends up fighting back and popping back up. And she swims back to shore, and so they catch her again and execute her another way. But this was so upsetting for Franz that he actually lobbied for them to stop drowning women for this. They're like, we're going to just cut off their heads, please. It was so traumatic for like everyone who saw it as well.
Yeah. Ugh.
And this is why they have to be good at what they do.
So when it's by the sword, are they like being beheaded with the sword?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Beheaded by the sword, quick, clean, what we might view as a more humane option.
In comparison
to being drowned alive.
Yeah.
Which I feel is worse. So a note on this penal code, the Carolina, which is mentioned and explored heavily through the book that I've read. It is officially called the Constitutio Criminalis Carolina, shortened to the Carolina, and it's the first recognized body of law, criminal law in Germany. And it was agreed upon in 1530 at the Diet of Augsburg under the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, and then ratified 2 years later when it becomes law. And it covers both civil and criminal law. And under this penal code, actions such as murder, manslaughter, robbery, arson, being gay, and witchcraft are all seen as severe crimes, which puts them up for punishment by death. And it's interesting because the Carolina specified that those found guilty of causing harm through witchcraft are to be executed with fire. Which sounds familiar, doesn't it? This would be one of the foundational pieces of law for the witchcraft trials that would sweep all of Europe for the next 200 or 300 years.
Right.
So the Carolina is incredibly important because it also seeks to unify all law under the Holy Roman Empire. That's why they created this, is that they wanted a unifying penal code for everything so that they could punish people equally throughout the land. Which I think is a good idea. All the punishments were incredibly harsh.
Yeah, 100%.
Back to Franz.
Okay.
So Franz's father was a guy named Heinrich, and he was originally a fun-loving woodsman. He just loved being a woodsman and being in the woods and chopping down wood.
And they're like, hey, you're pretty good at that.
Well, he was just slanging wood when he was approached by a tyrannical ruler by the name of Albrecht II. And Albrecht wanted 3 men hung. And he was like, who am I going to get to do this? And he looked over and he saw this fun-loving woodsman and he said, you! And he changed this man's family forever.
Yeah, Jesus.
Because this Heinrich, Franz's father, carried out the execution and then was the executioner from then on.
I guess, yeah. Now you do it once, you're gonna do it for everybody now.
He literally could not get another job.
I guess
everyone saw him do that, and they were like, "Nope, we're not working with you anymore."
Wow.
So, baby boy Franz, kitty cat appearance.
Yeah, my boy's here.
Baby boy Franz was born in 1555 or around then, because it's the 1500s. During his childhood, his father trained him in various styles of execution, And some of this training, unfortunately, included executing local dogs.
Oh.
I know.
Not in front of Max, please.
I'm sorry, baby.
It's okay. I have headphones on. He didn't hear.
Good. So when Franz was about 18 years old, he became an executioner under his father's, management.
Okay.
In Bamberg, Germany in 1573. About 5 years later, he's able to get a much nicer post in Nuremberg, where he starts really building himself a name for being a good executioner and somewhat of an upstanding guy. The work of executioners, as we've discussed, is often seen as something that is dishonorable in the community. And that's something that really bothered Franz a lot. He wanted to be an honorable man, and he wanted to serve his community well, and he could only really do it one way, which was being an executioner. It's interesting how sequestered from society they really are, because technically they're not even citizens. So after being in Nuremberg for a while, our guy Franz marries the daughter of another executioner. Her name is Maria Beck. And he eventually becomes chief executioner after his father-in-law passes away. So now he's big shit executioner. He ends up having 7 children, and he ends up being able to make a pretty good wage for himself, and he's able to buy kind of a nice house. And in his 45-year career, he only asked for a raise twice. And usually they don't give raises. This is something that was kind of discussed in the thing, is that they don't give raises. And they gave him raises twice. They gave him these raises because he was good at what he did and he was extremely hardworking. He, like we were just talking about, he really wanted to raise his standing in society and raise his family's standing in society. And in his journal, he writes a lot about wanting to be an honorable man and wanting to live an honorable life. And again, we were talking about earlier, this even included lobbying for less harsh punishments for certain crimes and for women especially, which you love to hear. He worked through this entire time, and he would end up retiring in 1617. And he began using his executioner's skills to actually become a healer. He is thought to have helped with advised in a medical capacity about 15,000 people. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. In the end, he would have actually helped heal more people than he hurt, which I really like. And to reflect this, actually, he was formally given citizenship and made an honorable member of society after his retirement, which removed the social stigma on him and his family.
That's really cool. I mean, I wish it hadn't been there to begin with, but that's really cool.
Right? And you can actually still visit his grave to this day in Nuremberg. He had a beautiful funeral. He was buried with honors. And he, hopefully through this book, is remembered as a person who wanted to help more than he wanted to hurt.
Yeah. Well, I like him. I'm all for it.
Right?
I mean, I wouldn't be all for it if I was the person he was executing.
No, but you probably wouldn't do crime.
Probably not. I would try not to. But, I mean, witchcraft, they could accuse anybody of witchcraft and witchcraft. It would be set. Yeah.
Plus, we're getting information through torture tactics, which is not good. You got to remember as well that that's how they interrogated people, and that's something he was in charge of. But I think he wanted the sum of his actions to be in the positive.
Right.
And that was expressed through his journal, which is one of the reasons why it's such a unique document. And I wanted to kind of end my report here on executioners and on this book with a quote from the book from Joel Harrington about executioners and about Franz. He writes, quote, "A ubiquitous and integral part of the European social fabric well into the modern era, these, quote, weapons of justice were simultaneously viewed with suspicion and disdain by the very communities they served. Formerly marginalized as members of the dishonorable trades, a delimited menagerie that included slaughterhouse workers and gravediggers. And yet, Meister Frond, as he was popularly and endearingly known, remained a revered member of the local establishment, widely respected for his piety and steadfastness.
Sounds like a solid guy overall.
Right. And I liked that he was working to redeem himself in a way.
Yeah. It seems like he was trying to like balance out the executions with healing. I'm glad he wrote everything down.
Me
and
too.
Now I want to read that book.
You absolutely should. I think everybody should, because if you found any of the stuff that I talked about today interesting, the book is hours of this, and it is great. And the guy who reads the audiobook does a fantastic job.
Nice.
So I highly recommend. But Katelyn, what do you think of The Life of an Executioner?
4 out of 5 stars. Go read it now.
Hell yeah. Oh, I forgot to tell you one little bit that that blew my brain, but was hard to find more about online. But like executioners, like there were all these executioner families, right? Mm-hmm. Every so often, they would get together. They would like have a get together, like a convention.
Oh my God.
Like a meetup of all the executioner families. Franz never went to any of these, apparently, but they were apparently like a rip-roaring fucking good time.
A conference.
Yeah, honestly, a conference. And apparently they played music and they drank and they hung out because they were the only other people that they could hang out with.
Right. Oh, I hope that brought them some comfort.
Right? But I want to know more about like the Executioner Jamboree or whatever the fuck it was.
Yes.
Like I have to know. I searched on everywhere online and I couldn't really find more about it. He's like, Joel Harrington is one of the only people who's ever written about it. I'm like, where did you read this?
Yeah.
Show it to me now.
Who said this and where?
And what was it like? Did one of those fucks keep a journal? Today, I fucked hard with 2 other executioners. We drank some mead and partied all night.
I love it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this interesting trip into a very niche part of medieval European society.
Yeah, great job, Sophie. This was very interesting. Not a perspective you think about. You obviously executions happened all through history and we know that, but you don't really think about who's doing it.
Right?
And their life and what that was like.
That's what hooked me in. I was like, that question of like, well, who's gotta do it? I'm like, well, shit, who does I gotta do it?
Right.
Not me.
And that's not all they do. They have to do all this other shit too.
Right? A very thankless job. You're the one who's got to clean the cesspools and haul out the dead animals, but no one will let you come to the community church. Boo.
Yeah, that's not right.
Well, chalk it up to all the rest of history's thankless jobs.
True. Yeah. I'm surprised they couldn't hang out with like the grave diggers and whoever else you said in that quote that you ended with. I'm surprised the executioners and the grave diggers and the other outcasts. Maybe they did. Maybe they were friends. I hope so.
Maybe they did, but like I think what we can't understand as modern people is the heavy amount of like superstition around the executioner. And like I think one of the quotes said, even the things that he touched, like he couldn't go to local bars or anything like that because like if he touched a glass, they'd have to fucking break that shit or throw it out or whatever. God. Because like in the stool he sat on, like, people, it was akin to like being a leper. Like it was a true societal outcast, which is something that was so fascinating to me. Because you see a lot of judgment of people and outcasting people a lot for religion or color of skin or country of origin, but rarely for job.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for listening to my Sophie's super secret special book report. I hope that I have another one soon. I have to find another nonfiction bone book to read. I mean, there's so many. It's just about choosing.
Yeah, you just got to narrow it down, honestly. The world is your oyster, your spooky oyster.
The world's a big spooky oyster. And you know what, boneheads? I hope you slurp it down.
Yeah. Gobble it up real good.
Yeah. And take care of your bones and have a lovely week or weekend, night or afternoon, whenever you're having this listen to us. I hope that you take a moment to be kind to yourself.
Yeah, and drive safe if you're driving, and sleep well if you're about to sleep.
Oh,
or
yeah,
are already asleep.
If you're already asleep,
Nightmare, 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 nightmare.
And as always,
bon voyage. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to Anything Bones. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Anything Bones Podcast, or email us at anythingbonespodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you to Nick Kruger for our spooky music and Stephen Vetteroff
At Chubby Scrubby on Twitter,
for our jazzy vocals, and thank you to Camilla Franklin
at Camilla Strader on Instagram.
for our beautiful bony artwork. Please rate, review, and subscribe. When you think of an executioner, how do you picture them?
in like all black with a big axe or something. Yeah, the cape over their eyes and mouth.
Like a hood?
Or no. Yeah, sorry. Their eyes are, you can, let me take that back.
Nightmare, 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 nightmare.